Hey, everybody, welcome back to another
What up?
episode of Good Cinema. We got, Jay's asking already. Jay Thompson says, "What is this?"
What is
Well,
this?
I'll show you. This is a movie about the space program, the early space program, The Right Stuff from 1983. There's so many A-list actors in this movie, I probably can't name them all, but we got Dennis Quaid, Scott Glenn, of course, Sam Shepard, who plays Chuck Yeager. Ed Harris, who plays John Glenn. Got Fred Ward. I don't know if you guys remember. I reviewed it for Bad Cinema. He was in one of my Bad Cinema movies called Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins.
Nice.
But Fred Ward is actually a very good actor. I think he passed away last year, unfortunately. Lance Henriksen,
R.I.P.
Aliens, is in this movie. He's not got a big part in it. Jeff Goldblum shows up in it. So it's Garen's over there smacking us around. It's like
I'm just checking. Yeah.
Assault. I'm charging you with assault. All right. Hey, John.
What up, John?
Well, nothing new. Yeah, there's lots of people in this movie. It's I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like as a kid. One thing I can say about this movie was, like I was telling you guys backstage, my mom and my stepdad took me to see this movie when I was a wee little lad.
Yeah.
And then I remember he had it on I'd see it on HBO like the year after that. It was everywhere. It was back when they had the big satellite dishes, and and HBO would actually. I don't know if you guys remember, they used to show the same movie like over and over all day.
Oh
They
yeah.
would show the one movie, then they show another movie, then they show the same movie they showed before that movie again.
They're getting everybody. Yeah.
And especially if it was like a new release, But yeah, so a lot of the guys that this is a historical film, obviously, and a lot of the people that, which is kind of different when you see them portraying real people, isn't it? Sometimes, because I guess the actors have to like I read that that Sam Shepard hung around like Chuck Yeager for like a couple of months, and Chuck Yeager would tell him like, well, you dress like this or we talk like this. So they got a lot of technical stuff from them.
Cool.
It's based on a book by the writer. I don't know if you know the writer. Remember the writer Thomas Wolfe, who wrote the Kool-Aid Acid Test, and he wrote he did an in-depth book about the space program and where they got these guys in the test pilot program. And I reckon he didn't really like this movie, though. That's what I heard. But I didn't get any production pictures this time. But we will read the Wikipedia. And
cool.
Aaron, I pinned the trailer in the chat. If we want to share it here in a minute, but we'll. Should we watch the trailer first and then go over the Wikipedia? Let's watch the trailer.
Let's watch the trailer. So you want me to bring up the trailer?
Yeah.
Bring it in? Okay.
It's
hold on.
hard for me to do it. I don't have a wired connection yet. But when I get in my new house, I'm going to put the modem in my room.
Yeah, Matthew's moving, you guys. What do you think of that?
Yeah, in about 2 weeks, too.
It's
quickly approaching.
It might interrupt you a little bit, but
where I'm going to have to try to get the internet installed next week or something, won't we, Mom? I think we'll try to get it installed next week so we can.
We're gonna share screen, people, and we're gonna share The Right Stuff official trailer 1983.
Keep your finger on the trigger because you never know how much music are in these trailers.
Yeah. And I'm gonna push play, but stop it every 7 seconds.
Oh yeah, I better add it to the stage.
Now we're good, right? Now we're good. So I'm gonna push play and then watch the timer, though. Do we want to watch the whole thing?
Yeah. Well, we might not. It's a long trailer.
Okay. 1983.
On October 14th, 1947, Captain
we're talking test pilots here, people.
and Charles Yeager shattered the sound barrier. Propelled man into the future. And
See, I like the beginning of this movie, man. You know, you want me to pause it, right? Or
Yeah.
because
Like also I don't know if any of you guys have been to the Smithsonian Institute, but I went to the Space and Aeronautics Museum,
yeah,
and they have that jet.
they have
the
that
X-1
fighter jet.
one from the
Search
racket.
began
Yeah.
for a new breed of men. Men who were fearless,
You've heard about our project. Sounds dangerous. It's very dangerous. Count me in.
I got a rocket in my pocket and a
Okay, so we got
Uh-oh.
some music right there. Great
Yeah, watch
scene,
out
though.
for
It
the
does.
Jerry
This movie. Go ahead.
Lewis music there. Yeah.
This movie
Dennis
it does a
Quaid,
great job.
patriotic beyond question.
Dennis
I
Quaid
just
there.
thank God I live in a country where the best and the finest in a man can be brought out. My pleasure to introduce to you America's Hercules astronauts.
Very cool, man. I'm just gonna move it ahead a little bit here. Yeah, the movie does a great job rendering that feeling, that historical feeling of these test pilots, you know, and what they become astronauts.
In a hurtling piece of machinery to cross the threshold of space.
It takes a special kind of man to volunteer for a suicide mission, especially when it's on TV.
Well, the government spends just all kinds of time and money teaching new pilots how to be fearless.
The story's about the women too, here and there, right?
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it's a human. It's a
Definitely.
human story. It's about
A
humanity.
damn penny teaching you how to be the fearless wife of a test pilot.
They were idolized by the public.
Hi, which one are you?
Shepard.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Well, which one's Glenn? He's the one I want to meet.
People were just more honest back then. You know what I mean? They just blurred it right out.
Yeah. Well, John Glenn was kind of like the golden boy, the poster boy of the space program. He was like had a squeaky clean image.
Yeah.
The rest of them were kind of rough around the edges, so to speak.
But behind the image, they were human beings.
Wow.
Human beings with real fears,
If anybody goes up in the damn thing's going to be spam in a can.
frustrations,
What happened? He blew the hatch. I did not do anything wrong. The hatch just blew. It was a
So yeah, he was in denial about that, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, actually, they found the capsule years later,
Yeah.
and they found out he was right. He didn't actually do anything wrong. I think they kind of over dramatized that for this movie.
Well, they're trying to redeem this character.
Yeah. Well,
Historically.
Gus Grissom also, famously, the guy he's playing, Gus Grissom,
Yeah.
he was one of the guys that died in Apollo 1 when it caught on fire
Dang,
inside the
dude.
capsule.
They're trying to make up for bad press.
I'm running this show here. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
disappointments.
Aren't we going to the White House, Gus?
Nah.
No ticker tape parade in New York? And no Jackie?
Yeah, you know, it's pretty much
Okay.
about that humanity, you know, the interactions. Like, could you imagine the women like seeing their men go on this experimental crafts and just going?
Yeah, and you know, the one actress, I can't remember her name, but she has a good scene when she's talking to the other wives when
Yeah.
they're having a cookout, and she's like, all my girlfriends and their husbands, and they're talking about how doggy dog, you know, it is on Madison Avenue, or
Yeah.
working in a law firm. She goes, what would they feel like if when their husband went to work, there was a 1 in 4 chance they weren't going to come home that day.
Yeah, yeah. How you like that for dog eat dog? It's like, but it's like nature eating the dog or whatever you want to say.
Pressures,
There's another hold from NASA, another delay. What can be going through a man's mind at this moment?
Gordo, I have to urinate.
Get off.
That's one of the funniest parts.
Yeah, that's great. But I mean, these guys are men, you know, and they're like, we're just doing this, you know, and they like the adrenaline.
Well, there's also like almost like these guys are like, yeah, they like pushing, like they say it a lot in the movie. They push the edge outside of the envelope, right? They're going as far to the edge as they can. And you have to have a certain kind of like mentality to even think about this. Think about this. You're strapping yourself to basically a high explosive with liquid nitrogen in it
Yeah.
and being hurled into the outer atmosphere of space.
Yeah. Or even
And
when they weren't, even when it wasn't about space, it was you were hurtling through freaking sky trying to break the sound barrier.
It takes a different kind of guy to do this kind of thing. I mean, I would say they have to have a screw loose.
Right. They might. Well, it shows it, right? It shows that these guys are kind of, on the edge a little bit, but they keep it together. They're civil.
Captured the imagination of the world. These are the men who had the right stuff.
They all want to see Buck Rogers, and that's us.
The right stuff. So that's good, right? That's enough, you think?
I like how Dennis Quaid too is like when they're in the bar and Fred Ward's like, well, there's old hot dog. He says, I'm not a hot dog. You're looking at the hot dog man.
Should we end it there?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
It's the right stuff. And we'll get to the Wikipedia in a minute. I'm gonna try not to waste as much time as I did last time.
That's cool. No, I like when you read it, dude. So it's fun.
I just wanted to say that, like the other interesting thing is like probably the most interesting character in the movie though is not even an astronaut. It's Chuck Yeager, and they kind of revisit him throughout. He shot down 5 Germans in one day in World War II as a pilot. He was shot down behind enemy lines once and made it back, and then decided to get back in a plane, even though he didn't have to, and go back and start fighting more Germans. He's I think he was a double ace, they call it, which means I think he shot down over 14 planes. I think you have to have 7, or is it 7 or 5 able to be an ace or something, I think. They call, I don't know, like you have to shoot down at least a certain number of, but he was like what they call a double ace. He had better than 20/20 vision, which you'll find a lot with pilots.
Dang, dude.
And he also flew 40 combat missions in Vietnam and retired a brigadier general. Not to mention broke the sound barrier.
Someone living off adrenaline.
Over Mach 1, was it 2.5 later in the movie he goes over? And then he about bites the farm at the end of it.
They do a good job showing that these guys are test pilots breaking the sound barrier before they even go to space.
5 to be. He shot down 10 planes, and yeah, he was a double ace. Is what they
Dang,
call it.
dude, that's a lot.
Yeah, and he actually shot. He was one of the first American pilots to shoot down a Messerschmitt jet.
Wow.
I mean, he did that in a prop plane. So that's pretty wild.
Yeah,
anyway, so you got these guys, and they're all the best of the best, though. But it's kind of like they didn't really want Yeager, did they? You notice that? They're like, well, he didn't go to college.
He was the best.
I'm like, this guy's like got the nerves of steel, and you don't want him, but he was a little older. And he told him, remember, he said, you guys don't want test pilots. You want a lab rabbit to go up in a capsule, which is basically what they wanted.
They did that with a chimp.
Yeah. And so these guys are putting their ass on the line. I mean, they're risking everything. And then I can't imagine their wives. Like, there's another great scene with Ed Harris and the woman that plays his wife, and Vice President Johnson. Remember, when they cancel the flight, I want to go in there and console her, for TV, and he just wanted to get on TV.
They cast the vice president and the president really well, I thought. I instantly knew when I was watching it who they were.
Yeah.
In that smoky room there.
But it was yeah. So people I think now don't realize, but back then people were genuinely worried because the atomic age had just came in, and the Soviets were able to get Sputnik into the atmosphere, above the atmosphere, to orbit the Earth.
Yeah.
And transmit signals back. And they're like, well, they have nuclear weapons too. Like, if they can do that, they could put some nuclear warheads up there maybe, and just fire them where they want to. That was the big fear of this. This is why the whole space race even started, was because of the Cold War. Right. And the Soviets were beating the crap out of us. They got the first man. Gagarin was the first man in space. Yeah. They launched the first satellite in space.
They were called cosmonauts.
Yeah. And we were playing catch up at the time.
Yeah.
And we of course we eventually surpassed them when President Kennedy said, my goal is for us to land a man on the moon before this decade is out. which is like, think about that. 1960s, that's an insane thing to pretty much say. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to put these guys it's on the moon?
Yeah.
And you can't even get out of the atmosphere right now. And I can't imagine what the actual astronauts went through seeing all these test rockets blow up.
Dude. They're just doing it. They're freaking manning up and they're doing it. I mean, I couldn't do that. What the fuck?
Yeah, we'll share the Wikipedia. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta cowboy the F up, I guess, if you're doing that kind of job.
That's some crazy stuff. I want to live, you know.
And the one guy, you remember the guy at the first day, they're like, what would it take to, he says, I'll tell you, he says, I'll take $150,000 and I can break the sound barrier. Remember?
Yeah.
And then they asked Chuck Yeager, he goes, well, the Air Force pays me, don't they? And they said, how much are we paying him? $250. The guy said, a week? No, a month.
Yeah. How about when Yeager busted a rib? He busted a rib before he went up and finally
he fell off the horse.
Yeah, and he finally beat the sound barrier Mach 1, because that was a big deal in people's minds.
Yeah.
You know, that can you break the sound barrier? You know,
and 150 grand back then is $2 million.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So The Right Stuff is a 1983 American epic historical drama written by and directed by Philip Kaufman. It's based on the 1979 book of the same name by Tom Wolfe. The film follows the Navy, Marine, and Air Force test pilots who were involved in the aeronautical research at Edwards Air Force Base, California, as well as the Mercury 7. The 7 military pilots who were selected to be astronauts for the Project Mercury, the first human space flight by the United States. The film stars Sam Shepard, Ed Harris, Scott Glenn, Fred Ward, Dennis Quaid, Barbara Hershey, and Kim Stanley in her final film. She plays Poncho, the woman that owns the bar. Levon Helm, who was the drummer for the band called The Band.
Yeah,
he narrates it, and he plays Jack Ridley, the Air Force test pilot who was buddies with Chuck Yeager.
Cool.
The Right Stuff was a box office bomb. It grossed $21 million against a budget of $27 million. However, it received widespread critical acclaim and was nominated for 8 Oscars at the 56th Academy Awards, 4 of which it won. The film was a huge success on the home video market. In 2013, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally and historically significant. So it may have started out a failure.
Yeah.
What? This was like the beginning of the home video stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. So and like the HBO and all that stuff. So
I think it's a historical, like they said, it's historical. That's why it's so important.
And with a lot of movies, and you know, a lot of movies that I've covered on this channel, like The Thing, it was not a success at the box office, but it goes on to have this great cult following. You know,
Big Trouble in Little China.
There is a TV series that came out from National Geographic on Disney Plus, but it really wasn't the same thing to me. So a little historical background here. It says in 1947, over the Muroc Army Airfield in California, a number of test pilots had been killed while flying high-speed aircraft such as the rocket-powered Bell X-1. After another pilot named Slick Gooden demands $150,000 to attempt to break the sound barrier, war hero Captain Chuck Yeager receives a chance to fly the X-1. And if you notice, like in the film, at the first of it, you know, we see the guy crash, right? You don't see it, but you hear the explosion.
Yeah.
And the chaplain goes to the woman's house. He's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Chuck Yeager ride this horse.
Yeah.
And you can see the X-1 and they're testing the engine, right?
Yeah. And
it's almost like, to me, it almost felt like the symbolism of, like, you know how the knight is getting ready to face the evil dragon, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like the X-1 is his own character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like breathing fire down there. Yeah.
They were referring to the Sky Demon. Because it was in the sky. Because they didn't know if they could break the sound barrier.
Yeah, they thought maybe it was just a brick wall you go up against, and that's it.
Yeah.
You just break apart. And
a lot of these guys are vets, right? A lot of these guys were veterans, as you pointed out, and they have a high stress thing that, you know, they got to deal with. So they become test pilots, you know?
Yeah. So they got to have ice water in their veins. But let me look at the cast here. We didn't mention them all. There's Veronica Cartwright, who was in Alien.
Yeah.
She plays Betty Gus Grissom's wife. Scott Wilson, who plays Scott Crossfield. So, see, some of them were civilian pilots. Like Scott Crossfield was a civilian test pilot. So, not all, a few of them were not. So, we got, and I said Levon Helms in it. So, there's a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah.
And
it's not really about one character.
Yeah, it's an ensemble.
Yeah.
In 1979, independent producer Robert Chartoff, Irwin Winker outbid Universal Pictures for the movie rights to Tom Wolfe's book. They paid almost $350,000 for the rights to the book. They hired William Goldman to write the screenplay. Goldman wrote in his memoirs that his adaptation focused on the astronauts, and he entirely ignored Chuck Yeager. Goldman was inspired to accept the job because he wanted to say something patriotic about America in the wake of the Iran hostage crisis.
Yeah.
Winkler writes in his memoir that he was disappointed that Goldman's adaptation had ignored Yeager. So in June of 1980, United Artists agreed to finance the film up to $20 million, and the producers began looking for a director. Michael Ritchie was originally attached to be the director, and he directed such movies as The Candidate and Smile and The Bad News Bears. But that deal fell through. So John Avildsen, who directed the Rocky movie, the original Rocky movie, and the Karate Kid films, was also asked. But 4 years prior, he had won an Oscar for his work under Winkler and Chartoff for the original Rocky movie.
Yeah.
The Right Stuff would have reunited him with the producers. But ultimately, Chartoff and Winkler approached director Philip Kaufman. There's Philip Kaufman, who agreed to make the film but did not like Goldman's script. Kaufman disliked the emphasis on patriotism and wanted Yeager put back in the film, which was probably a good idea.
It would have been.
Eventually, Goldman quit the project in August of 1980, and United Artists pulled out. When Wolfe showed no interest in adapting his own book, Kaufman wrote a draft in 8 weeks. His draft restored Chuck Yeager to the story because if you're tracing how the future began, the future in space travel, it began really with Chuck Yeager in the world of the test pilots, which is really true.
Yeah.
Because the astronauts all descended from them.
I wanted Yeager, see, but this is based on history, but I want Yeager throughout the whole thing. But, that's just me.
Oh, this is interesting. Actor Ed Harris auditioned twice in 1981 for the role of John Glenn. Originally, Kaufman wanted to use a troupe of contortionists to portray the press corps. But he settled on the unprofessional comedy troupe, the Fratelli Bologna, known for its sponsorship of St. Stupid's Day in San Francisco. The director, what is St. Stupid's Day?
That's funny. I never heard that.
The director created a locust-like chatter to accompany the press corps whenever they appear, which was achieved through a sound combination, among other things, of a motorized knock-on cameras and clicking beetles.
Yeah.
Professional American football player Anthony Munoz has a minor role in the film as an orderly named Gonzalez. The soft-spoken Munoz was asked to lip-sync his lines, and a deeper, gruffer voice was dubbed over his in post-production. I didn't know he was. He played for the Bengals. Anthony Munoz.
That's
most
nice.
of the films most of the films shot around San Francisco between March and October '82, with additional filming continuing in January of '83.
Yeah.
The waterfront warehouse there was transformed into a studio location. Shooting took place primarily at the abandoned Hamilton Air Force Base, north of San Francisco, California, which was converted into a soundstage for numerous interior sets. No location could substitute for the distinctive Edwards Air Force Base landscape, so the entire production crew moved to the Mojave Desert to shoot the opening sequences that framed the story of the test pilots at Muroc Army Airfield. Later became Edwards Air Force Base. Additional shooting took place in California City in early '83 during the filming of a sequence portraying Chuck Yeager's ejection from the NF-104. Stuntman Joseph Sevick, a former Green Beret, was killed when he failed to open his parachute because he may have been unconscious from the smoke.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I didn't know that. In 1982, the scene of the wives of the astronauts watching the television broadcast was filmed on a military housing unit in Novato, California. Chuck Yeager was hired as a technical consultant to the film. He took the actors flying, studied the storyboards and special effects, and pointed out errors. To prepare for their roles, Kaufman gave the actors playing the 7 astronauts, an extensive videotape collection to study. The effort to make an authentic feature led to the use of many full-size aircraft, scale models, special effects to replicate the scenes at Edwards Air Force Base in Cape Canaveral. Special visual effects supervisor Gary Gutierrez said that the special effects were too clean for the desired dirty, funky, early NASA look that made Gutierrez and his team start from scratch and employ unconventional techniques like going up a hill with a model airplane on wires and fog machines to create clouds, or shooting models of F-104s from a crossbow device and capturing their flight with up to 4 cameras.
They did a good job.
Yeah. Avant-garde filmmaker Jordan Belson created the background of the Earth as seen from the high-flying planes in orbiting spacecraft. And Kaufman gave his 5 editors a list of documentary images that he needed, and he sent them off to search for film from NASA, the Air Force, and Bell aircraft vaults. They also discovered Russian stock footage not viewed in over 30 years during production.
Wow.
Kaufman met with resistance from the Ladd Company and threatened to quit several times. In December of '82, one reel of cut work print of the film that included portions of John Glenn's flight disappeared from Kaufman's editing facility in San Francisco. The missing reel of cut work print was never found, but was reconstructed by using black and white duplicate copy of the reel. And okay, now we're getting into historical accuracy.
But it's cool, dude. They did a good job with the models, I think. Don't you think that, with the planes and stuff, the way it was falling and moving and stuff?
Yeah.
And also, well, here it says here substantial dramatic liberties had been taken, though.
Yeah.
Because neither Yeager's flight in the X-1 to break the sound barrier early in the film or his later nearly fatal flight of the NF-104A was not spur of the moment, capriciously decided event.
That's Hollywood for you.
Yeah, it's not, the film seems to imply it, but both were actually part of the routine testing program for both aircraft. Yeager had already flown both aircraft a number of times and was very, very familiar with him. Jack Ridley had actually died in 1957, even though his character appears in several key scenes taking place after that, most notably including Yeager's 1963 flight of the NF-104A. Other notable inaccuracies include the early termination of Glenn's flight after 3 orbits instead of 7, when the flight was scheduled for at most 3 orbits. The engineers who built the Mercury craft portrayed as Germans, though they were mostly Americans.
Okay.
The Right Stuff depicts Cooper arriving at Edwards in 1953, reminiscing with Grissom there about the two of them having supposedly flown together at Langley Air Force Base, and then hanging out with Grissom and Slayton, including all 3 supposedly being present at Edwards when Scott Crossfield flew at Mach 2 in November of '53.
Yeah.
It shows the 3 of them being recruited together there for the astronaut program in '57, with Grissom supposedly expressing keen interest in becoming a star voyager. According to their respective NASA biographies, though, none of the 3 was posted to Edwards before '55. And Grissom and Cooper in '56 were there in '56, and neither of that's kind of splitting hairs, though.
Yeah.
Neither of the last 2 trained at Langley. When astronaut recruitment began in '57, after the Soviets had orbited with Sputnik, Grissom had already left and returned to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio.
They're trying to massage all the events into the movie.
Well, they were trying to get to where they could have all the people in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
A large number of models were assembled for production of this film. There were more than 80 aircraft appeared in the film. Static mock-ups and models. There's the X-1 in the Smithsonian right there on that picture. But some of the planes that were in this movie are Douglas A-26 Invader, a North American P-51 Mustang, North American T-6 Texan, and a Boeing B-29 Super Fortress. Other real aircraft included in the early jet fighter training was the Douglas A-4 Skyhawk, the LTV A-7 Corsair. Well, you see it. You get the idea.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and the Right Stuff had its world premiere on October 16, 1983 at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. to benefit the American Film Institute. It was given a limited release on October 21st of '83 in 229 theaters grossing a disappointing $1.6 million on its opening weekend. It went into wide release on February 17th, 1984, in 627 theaters when it grossed an additional 1.6 that weekend. The movie went on to gross $21.1 million in the United States and Canada. The failure of the film and Twice Upon a Time caused the Ladd Company to shut their doors. As part of the promotion for the film, Veronica Cartwright, Chuck Yeager, Gordon Cooper, Scott Glenn, and Dennis Quaid appeared in 1983 at the Constellation, the 41st World Science Fiction Convention in Baltimore. The reviews were Roger Ebert named The Right Stuff the best film in 1983 and wrote, "There was a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the movie, too. The Right Stuff is an adventure film.
Yeah.
A special effects film, a social commentary and satire. It joins a short list of recent American movies that might be called experimental epics, movies that have been ambitious reach through time and subject matter that spin freely for location and special effects, but that consider each
Yeah.
scene."
You got to view
that's
it.
a lot to read. Never
You
mind.
got to view it through that type of
He's
lens,
just
though.
said that. Yeah. So anyway, that's all we're going to share of that.
Well, I mean, that's how you view it. If you go in thinking, okay, it's going to be your average action movie, then you might be let down a little bit, you know. But it's more like Hollywood re-representing history, right? History of space flight.
Well, yeah, you know, they're always going to rewrite like even like, you know, in Pulp Fiction, you know, the famous Bible verse that Samuel L. Jackson quotes. Quentin Tarantino, if you read the actual Bible verse, it's not word for word like that. He actually rewrote the Bible.
Yeah, they take liberties. They take
liberties with the Bible. So,
yeah.
I mean, Hollywood, this is how it goes. But
yeah,
I don't know. What do you guys think? It was like, what was your guys' favorite scene in the movie?
I mean, I like the training portion of it when they were going through the training and like the whole blowing on the thing.
Oh yeah,
all up, and they're all like running out of air real quick. And then Dennis Quaid is at the end with the other guy, and he's just like smiling, and then he fails, and then the other guy. They're really it had a good job of showing how competitive these guys were.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were ultra competitive, like
yeah,
every aspect of everything they did.
Mm-hmm.
And that training montage or series of scenes showed that a lot.
Yeah. Like that one guy was so competitive that all he was thinking about was making it past how long was it?
91 seconds was the record.
Yeah. And so once he did it, he stopped and said,
he looks over there, John Glenn and the other guy are still, Ed Harris is still like.
Yeah. He didn't see that two other guys were still doing it.
He was just a little bit cocky. That's Dennis Quaid's character. A lot of those guys are cocky like that, though. They had to be because they didn't want to admit like they could die every time they go up in the air.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
If they thought about dying every time they went up there, they probably couldn't do the job.
Nobody wants to hear it.
A funny scene in the training when they're testing them is when Scott Glenn and the other astronaut got the enema bag and they're holding the bag. He's like, "You got to release the valve. It deflates the."
Yeah,
says,
they're like,
and he's talking to Gonzalez. He's like, "Have you ever lost anybody doing it?" He goes, "Yeah, sometimes it gets ugly."
And they're all holding it.
They says, "You got to go to the bathroom 2 floors up." So he basically dog walks down the hallway with all these people. They get on a crowded elevator and they got these things up their high end.
And everyone knows it, and everyone's like, so you get walked through the freaking hallway.
Yeah,
everyone laughing.
And Scott Glenn had been doing this impersonation of the guy Jorge Jimenez, you know.
Yeah,
and he was using like Latin American like accent, and that guy's like didn't like that. He goes, I kind of like your impersonation, but everybody else thinks it's bullshit or something like that.
Yeah. That was good.
And so that I don't know. I thought that was great, but also like, but I think like, I don't know. One of the scariest things to me is that scene where Chuck Yeager takes that experimental jet up to see if he.
Well, that's what I think. Almost like the first part of it with Yeager was the guy. He was my guy now, and then if you look at it through the lens of you want to see a good movie about, you're normally following just one or two few people and it's all about them. This is like scattered out throughout years, a big freaking cast, and so it could be like, I'm not feeling it sometimes while you're watching a 3-hour movie.
There's a good 2-hour movie in here. Hour movie.
Yeah. They kind of maybe milked a little bit too much, but I will give them that. I will give them that criticism. But what I did like kind of the recurring thing of like the first of it, he tells the guy, asked him, "You got any Beemans? Let me borrow a stick." He's talking about this is an old chewing gum they used to have in the 50s, 40s called Beemans. You can actually get it still. Like I think you can still order it, but it's not like in stores anymore. It's like a specialty, like how Cracker Barrel has all those old. It's there. I've seen it. But the original's not around anymore. But and also when he and I got a call where he tells him, "Look, I broke 2 ribs last night. I don't want to tell them because they're not going to let me go up."
Yeah, he was chasing his wife around on a horse.
So Levon Helm's character, he goes over there and takes the janitor's broom and saws a little piece off so he can jury rig it up to where he can close the hatch with that because he can't
has
reach
some
over
support
his right side
on his ribs. He's holding down. And he actually that's the first time anybody supposedly ever got Mach 1. They broke the sound barrier, right?
Yeah,
and it was this dude who broke
a lot of people had died trying to do that.
He broke his ribs like the night before, chasing after his wife on horseback while she was on horseback, and he fell off.
That's all true too. That really happened. Yeah, Chuck Yeager.
So that's the dude for you, man, because he wouldn't tell anybody. He says, "Oh man, I need some kind of support." And so
he knew he knew they would ground him. Yeah, he knew that, and he wanted to. It's kind of like a glory thing, right? I guess you know what I mean. Like,
or he just wanted to do it, man.
Yeah, he just wanted to do it to say he'd done it. Like, like they asked the guys that climb Mount Everest, "Why do you do it? Why did you climb that mountain?" Because it was there.
Yeah. Other guy wanted how much money? He wanted 150,000 or something.
And then they got
our guy Yeager was like, "Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it."
Yeah, he's like, the Air Force already pays me, don't they, Colonel? And they said, "How much did he pay him?" He said, 250. He said, "A week? No, a month."
Yeah.
So he didn't. He was.
It's their drug. They're adrenaline junkies. They love going as far as they could, and shit. Riding one of those planes doing Mach 1, that's got to be one hell of a freaking ride. Like
in an experimental craft of the 50s. This is 1950s, man.
I don't have these in order, but here's like the first of it.
Could I ask you something?
First clip.
Forget it, sweetie. She's his wife.
She's kind of a barfly hanging around.
Yeah, she's like one of those girls that like chase pilots, right? She's like,
how do these guys get on the wall? They die.
Oh yeah, so you got to die, honey, to get on this wall. So you kind of already see there's high stakes for these people. They're not. There's a chance when they go up, they're not going to make it. But here we go. I think this is where they do the drop.
Okay, Whiskey Kilo 28, repair to drop. Roger, ground control. This is Whiskey Kilo 28, lowering and launching now.
Intense.
They drop them like a bomb too. This jet could not take off. They had to drop it out of the bomb bay door of a B-29 Superfortress.
Yeah.
And kick the thrusters on. So this is like insane. Like, can you imagine saying, "Hey, we're going to put you in a plane that looks like a bomb and drop you out of the bomb bay.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to try to go Mach 1. Good luck."
And you're going to push it beyond the sound barrier. And these guys wanted to do it, and a lot of people died.
We don't know if you can make it or not. Well, we've had people die.
We never did it. We never did this before, but we want you to do it.
Here's another clip.
Oh no.
That's when our guy Yeager breaks his ribs.
He hits that palm tree and he flips him off and he breaks his ribs. But then his buddy, this is where he gets the guy's broom. I think it's hilarious.
Mr. Russell, can you help me out? We've got a small emergency. I need to borrow your broom handle here just for a second. Would you hold this right here?
The janitor dude's like, whatever.
Okay, whatever. He goes to push the broom again. He's like humped over trying to do it now.
Yeah, back problems for a while.
Yeah, he's gonna have back problems after that. And then this is where Ridley tells him how to use it.
Hey, look. Stick this in the handle. Take your good arm and just wang it down. Okay, thanks, buddy.
See? And they made it realistic. That's how the guys were talking to each other and stuff.
Wham it down.
No freaking drama, no nothing. They just do it.
I know, and you're like, I would be scared. Like, I don't even like getting on roller coasters, guys.
Well,
I don't like stuff like that. I never have, so I don't know how they. We got another scene here. I can't play all of it because it's like 29 seconds. But
Jesus. Good day, Commander, sir. You prick. Hey, you work.
Doctor says I need an enema. Not in my store, you don't.
I like how he's leading them he's kind of leading them like they're two dogs or something.
Oh yeah, he loved that moment.
And he's just Anthony Munoz, the guy that plays Gonzalez, is just so much bigger than they are. Of course, he played offensive tackle.
Yeah,
for the
that
Cincinnati
dude's huge.
Bengals, so he was a big dude.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He was shame walking him down the hallway like that.
I wonder.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how much of that is like played up for Hollywood, like you said, or comedic effect, because they're parading them down a public hospital.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at them. They could shit themselves at any damn time.
That's probably just a little artistic.
Yeah,
license,
if we're training guys to go into outer space for the first time,
and we're
I'm pretty sure it's a more private facility, And then having the guys masturbate in the same room.
That was a weird scene, wasn't it?
That was hilarious though, because
that was a weird scene.
John Glenn's in there humming like the Marine Corps hymn.
Yeah,
and because they're like Army, Air Force, Marines, and he goes, "I know that's you in there, Glenn." He said, "Will you quit? You're distracting me." So he starts singing the Air Force hymn, "Into the Wild Blue Yonder."
Yeah.
While
What am I watching here? That was funny.
But I also like where Dennis Quaid's character is start like, you know what? I got it figured out. All you got to do is try to nail old nurse over there.
That was funny.
And he starts flirting with her, and he says, "Well, I might need a little help if I go in there." And she's like, "Well, the first thing that you use is I heard that what she works. She said what works is stimulation followed by masturbation."
Yeah, followed by ejaculation. So, and it was this like cold nurse,
Yeah,
she's
and also like when she meets his wife, and they're both in there making fun of him.
Yeah,
like
yeah, and then his wife shows up afterwards talking to that nurse. Yeah.
Now here's another. I think it's the clip where they're going they're like at 0.95. This is when he breaks the sound barrier. So these are out of order. These clips.
0.95. 0.96.
Cool. I like it.
I really love the scenes though with the test pilot stuff.
Yeah, the beginnings were
like with that. It's just like because you're in it, like how they don't really. They kind of show you how it probably would be done, kind of discombobulating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, dude.
Like be going that fast and
shaking like that.
And like, look at the equipment he's wearing. First of all, he's got like a football helmet on, and I'm not talking like a new football helmet. We're talking like 1940s football helmet with his leather. And he's in here just like I'm trying to tame a dragon or something. How to train your dragon in real life.
No, it's intense.
But here's
Think
another.
About it. You're in a freaking you're in this metal enclosure flinging through freaking the sky, trying to break and when he broke the sound barrier, there was the loud sound that you hear, right? They didn't even expect that. They didn't even know that.
They thought he would break. They thought the plane had broke up when they heard it.
Yeah, another one bites, back to the drawing board. The dust, Another one's gone.
The cool elements. There's this shared element throughout all their flight scenes from the beginning to the end that I thought was interesting, but was never played upon. Sort of introduced when they talk about the demon, right? The demon of the sky or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But every time they would get to a certain level or a certain threshold of what they were about to do, it would see this aurora borealis of lights, this weird halo effect. And I thought that was a really cool concept. Like
yeah, I was wondering if that was what was within their mind, like their
Right.
brains were like on the edge, you know.
You see it when he's trying to break the sound barrier all the way up to when they're breaking the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You see this like cool effect of lights, and I'm like, man, that plays with me. That I like that kind of thing because I'm a science fiction guy. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, maybe they're going into some metaphysical kind of like, you know what I mean? We're doing something that man is not meant to do, kind of thing.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're pushing the limits of what human beings were built for. Right.
Right.
That's cool.
And
dude.
it's also like going back through history, like the humanity has a track record of trying to like tame Mother Nature or master our own planet, or even like if you go back to 1492, and they were trying to find the New World, they were trying to find other lands. So we're going where he was trying to find Asia. Obviously, he got lost, but but still finding something new, like even back then, that was like going to outer space because
they were proving that the world wasn't flat too.
Yeah, and so it goes back like throughout history, like like we see, there's a mountain, there's the world's largest peak. I want to climb it because it's there.
Yeah,
I want to go to space because it's there. It's like it's like the ultimate, like there's not much that you haven't seen in the world now. That the world's kind of global now. That you do have a few like uncontacted tribes, like in the Amazon, but those are that's a small, minute, considering everything else. And we still don't know everything. But like, everybody's explored the 7 seas, the oceans.
Yeah.
But now they're like looking up to the sky.
Yeah. Never mind putting someone on the moon, right?
Yeah. Well, we still haven't explored the depths of our oceans completely.
That's right. We don't know all of it. There's like a certain small fraction of the amount of the ocean we have.
Yeah, we can't go to a certain area. Like we can probably bring cameras and shit down there, but people, they're still trying to get crack that code. Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of the space program. As you can see, I got a Saturn rocket. Lego model.
Yeah.
But so this kind of started with this movie for me. That's one of the reasons I picked it.
It planted a seed in your young mind, right?
Yeah.
This right here, like what it took for them to truly explore the way they did,
And I was like, I think was my stepdad was like when he told me he wanted. He says we were taking the movie. I'll never forget. I was only 7. I remember him saying like, "You like Star Wars and Star Trek, but these are the real Star Wars guys."
Nice. You remember him saying that to you?
Yeah. And he's right though.
That's cool,
these are the real Buck Rogers, the real Flash Gordon, the real Luke Skywalker were these guys. I mean, if we had any comparison to it, that would be the only.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine their thought process? Meaning, like when they were kids, they probably saw Buck Rogers and they probably saw all these things and
Flash
their
Gordon,
representation of what space would be, or you know what I mean? And then to actually witness what it is to break the barrier, see space, see Earth from a certain height. It probably
that was a good scene, wasn't it?
Messed their heads up. Like, wow, this is nothing like Buck Rogers.
Yeah, that was a good scene, wasn't it? That was a good scene, dude. That was the first time.
And they do mention Buck Rogers in the movie, don't they? They say like, no Bucks, no Buck Rogers. They talk about raising funding. Yeah. And also, like, what was interesting, which is I think a true aspect, was the struggle that the test pilots had in the astronaut program, the astronauts, with these guys not being treated like lab rats or specimens. Like there's a very important scene where the capsule is shown to them the first time, and they're like, "Well, where's the window at? Where's the hatch?"
Yeah.
Oh, there is no window. You're just in there. This is fully automatic. He goes, "Well, there has to be a stick in there. What if something happens? That we have to like take control of the plane," which actually ends up happening later on. Not in the movie, but like with Gordo Cooper. At the end of it, they just show Gordo go up with Dennis Quaid plays Gordon Cooper.
Yeah.
But there was a malfunction in that capsule, and he had to change the trajectory on the fly manually. And if he hadn't been able to do that, he may have died up there. So see, a lot of these lab coat guys, they're super genius, smart level, but sometimes they don't think about it in a human way. Like, oh no, these guys are just like, they were arguing like, well, we might just send a monkey up first.
Yeah.
Which they did.
They did.
And that really was a front to these guys. They're like, well, why the fuck are we even here?
Oh yeah, it was an affront to them. Yeah.
There's a lot of pride involved too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a lot of competitive nature, pride. Because honestly, yeah, we should send the monkey up first. Let him
That's true.
go through that shit first.
But those guys are really tweaked.
Another thing they don't touch on in the movie is that the Soviets sent a dog up, and the dog didn't make it.
Right.
I reckon it came back dead. So there are high stakes in this thing, and like a lot of these guys, you know, you later on you find out that didn't make it later on with like Apollo 1, which was probably one of the most tragic, besides the Challenger in Columbia, was one of the 3 most tragic things that's ever happened in the space program.
Yeah.
But you know what? Also, it kind of makes me sad that like watch this movie because it's like that's a bygone era with NASA now. They've totally tried to privatize space travel.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's I mean, my opinion, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it's happening. Whether there's nothing we can do about it either way. But let me play
I think it's a huge mistake. I think they should definitely make space travel or exploration of outside of our planet an absolute what do you call it, priority for human beings, because we're our planet, we're doing some pretty big damage here, and we're gonna have to think about that someday, extending beyond our home. So yeah, I think it's something that we all should be thinking about for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna play a few more clips here, and then you got to go.
Unfortunately, my man, I love you, Matthew and Fable. It's fun hanging out with you, man. You're a smart dude. I want to see more of us.
More of us. 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. Does it suck or is it great?
I would say if they did a better editing job, it'd be 2 thumbs up. I would say that, but they need this, and then have the outtakes available on a disc so you could watch it. But let's get this movie flowing a little better. So some spots you're like kind of looking at the clock, but if you look at it like it's historical documentary, then yeah, totally, you guys totally watch this movie. It's totally important. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, I love you guys, man. I got to run.
Good,
Though.
Aaron.
I don't hate to do this to you.
Be good, brother.
It's okay, man. Life happens first.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, we're going to get through the clips here. We talked a lot about it, but I'm going to show you. That's when he goes to Mach 2.5 that time. He cracks the canopy with his helmet and like that. So he almost buys the farm right there.
Yeah, looks like he was almost passing out, man.
Yeah, and that could happen if you get up that far, which he almost blacks out later on. But here we'll show. I just want to run through some of these. This is like when they find out about Sputnik, and you see some of the testing they go through. To become an astronaut.
It's called Sputnik. We know. Sit down.
That was Jeff Goldblum, of course, is in the first of the movie with Harry Shearer. Isn't that Harry Shearer with him from Spinal Tap?
Yeah, I think so. That was a cool little running bit too in the movie, where every time they got news, they would just show this guy running down the hallway.
And they're like, "We know, sit down.
We know, sit down.
We already know, buddy. You know it all."
They did it like 2 or 3 times. I thought it was hilarious.
And then so I don't know what they're doing to Scott Glenn's character here, but they stick a big needle in his hand and they start like giving him a electrical. I guess they're testing reflexes or something.
Thank you, number 21.
Strange. I wonder what it is they were doing, but I think you're right. I think it was testing his nerves to see how much, I don't know, how much he can fight against the natural, you know what I mean? Because it was making his hand twitch, and he kind of forced his hand to close.
And then when he's getting up there at the end, he has to go back and pick his hand up off the table. And then I like what he does when he goes out there and they're like, "Oh, we're acting like they're all secret." Dennis Quaid's like, "Oh, that guy right there is in the Navy," and and he looks at him and goes, "No," he says, "Air Force men go in there, but when they come out, they look different." He goes, "What do you mean different?" He goes, "When they come out, they look scared." Yeah, we got it. This is the scene we were talking about where they have to do the sperm sample. This is hilarious.
Okay, Glenn, I know that's you. So just knock it off because I'm trying to concentrate in here.
And we got some of the scientists. Like they said, they try to portray most of these guys as Germans, but there were a lot of German scientists that we got because of what was it called, Project Paperclip after the war. But here's I don't know what clip this is.
Which one of you is going to be lucky enough, you think, to be the first one to be launched into space?
Smile. Okay, that's it.
And it was, of course, not them. It was the ape. The ape got to go up first. And then we got, I think this is, I don't know what clip this is, but I'm just trying to get through them because I didn't want to down on them for nothing.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
That's the one where they keep testing them and the rockets keep blowing up. So can you imagine, like, okay, we're going to put y'all on one of these and launch you into space. And every time you see one go up, it blows up. It's like,
well, that's what I was thinking in my head when I was watching. I was like, why would you have these men witness every one of these launches? Don't you know the psychological freaking terror you put in these guys through? But,
yeah,
you know,
I mean, it's got to weigh on you. We got Jeff in the chat, Adamantium Blade. It's good to see it. Yeah, it's a good movie. Like, I mean, is it the best movie in the world? No, but it's like, I don't know. It's a good movie, though. I mean, it's maybe they could have trimmed down about 30 minutes off this movie, I think, and we would have been okay.
I think it's like, honestly, if I kind of agree with Aaron a little bit. I think there's like actually like 2 movies in this movie.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like you got the Jaeger stuff, which that could have been its own thing. Jaeger,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in that town with his wife, that bar, him going through all the, you know, his fighter pilot stuff, like you said, and whatever he's achieved in his life. That would have been a great biopic for just him.
Yeah,
right?
you know, and you know what was also interesting is like you kind of want more of that part though, where you see all these characters at this bar and the lady they call Poncho that owns the bar, you know, and like and these like what's more? I want to know more about these people, you know.
Right,
we get a little bit, but it's like, yeah, I would like to know more about them, and maybe we could have had 2 movies out of this or something.
Yeah, the Air Force Base, whatever it is, that the place they're at Macon or whatever it's called, and then the movie just switches up to the whole space program, their training, their who's going first, the ticker tape parades, all the stuff that's associated with NASA. That's a whole nother movie in itself, you know. So I like both parts, but I think you got to choose one to make this a better film. You know what I mean?
And that may have been part of the reception it got at the box office. That may have been part of the reason.
Yeah. I mean, you had said one of the producers or a writer or something, they wanted to cut Jaeger out, and I would have to agree with that. Not because the Jaeger parts were bad, but just because it's jarring to go from who you essentially think you're following in this film to like, oh no, this is about this ragtag group of guys that Jaeger's not even a part of. Like, you know.
Well, you know, did you also see though, like how when that him and his other buddies that are not astronauts are watching all this unfold, like what happened with Gus Grissom, almost losing the capsule, and some people blamed him for it, even though it wasn't his fault.
Right.
And they're kind of being lighthearted about it, but you can see like I love the way Sam Shepard plays it though. It shows you what a great actor he was. Like he's joking around with him, but he's also got this look in his eye like, man, I wish I could do that.
Right.
Did you kind of feel that? Like I feel like I maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah. They definitely snubbed him because of the whole college thing. That, and even Dennis Quaid was working his way up to say that Jaeger was the greatest pilot that he ever saw, but he got cut off midway, and then he just switched to his joke.
He went back to his ego, his bluster that everybody knows. Right. So like, the greatest pilot I ever saw. He goes, well, you're looking at him. But he thought about it for a minute there at the end. because he remembers. If you remember him, like when they're having that barbecue, and the one guy flies by, and they're like, "Oh, there's what's his name?" And he looks over there at Chuck Yeager, it's next door, and he sees a look on his eye, like you can tell these guys admired him.
Oh yeah,
you know,
he was definitely their hero for sure.
And it was almost like, I guess, a young quarterback maybe being the backup for somebody like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, or you know, or one of these guys, one of the greats.
Right.
Like, I want to be like him.
Right.
You know, I want to be. This is the guy, the man. You know, like I don't know if you're a wrestling fan like I am, Fable, but you know what it's like Ric Flair used to say: you want to be the man, you have to beat the man.
You have to beat the man. Yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, you see that, like, competitive stuff with him and Scott Crossfield, the civilian test pilot. He goes up, well, then the next one to go up is him. He's going to try to beat him. And it's just like the next one up. So, like, and we get bigger and better. Like, Alan Shepard may have been the first American man in space. Right. But then they keep topping each other. John Glenn's the first guy to orbit the Earth.
Right.
And then you got, I think Gordo Cooper was the first guy to go the fastest. He was the fastest guy at the time.
Right. They all had their own little achievements.
Yeah.
And their competitive natures would ultimately bond them as friends. You know what I mean? Because they all know that, like you said, they all have this certain mentality of this push the envelope. I got to be the best. I'm going to be the first. And you kind of get the feeling
like when they're arguing back there. Remember, Glenn says some of you guys need to keep your wicks in your pants. and Scott Glenn, the other guys get mad at him, and like don't tell a pilot what to do on their personal life, you know. And they're arguing for a minute. Then Gus Grissom's like, "Look, I think you guys are missing the damn point here,
right?
Because we're competing against these guys right here. They don't even want to send us up there. They want us to go up there like a guinea pig."
Yeah, so but they bond nonetheless, because even when Harris's character goes up in space and his heat shield is malfunctioning, it was that guy who told the mission control, like, you tell him what's going on, like, you know what I mean?
You need to tell a pilot what's going on with his aircraft or spacecraft. And also you see like a little, when Alan Shepard's getting ready to go up, there's a funny little scene where like John Glenn tries to take his mind off of things, like, and puts that sign in the capsule that says no handball playing. And so it's not very funny, John, but I appreciate the effort, you know. So they're like kind of turning. Let's see what Jeff said. I think their competitive nature also drives them to achieve incredible things. It can be dangerous as well, though. Yeah. You keep pushing yourself to the edge like that, and then, you know, bad. And here's like a funny scene about that competitive nature. And Fable, you're the one that brought this up, where they're doing the little thing with the balls, and they got to blow in the hose to keep it, like, you know, it's kind of a test we've all done sometimes if you've ever been in respiratory therapy or something.
93 seconds. Read it and weep.
But then he looks over there, and John Glenn and the other guy are still going, which is hilarious. And then this is another scene with Anthony Munoz's character, who plays the orderly. I thought was just
Buenos dias yourself.
Oh, there you are. Would you come this way?
He's like, yeah, buenos dias yourself. And then also, this is the part where, which I don't know, I think it was kind of unfair the way they portrayed Gus Grissom in this movie, to be honest with you, Fable. Because they made it look like he had something to do with that. I don't think he had anything to do with it. I think that maybe it was just a mishap, but they do that scene where he drops those coins and stuff he was taking up with him, and it like making it believe like maybe he had something to do with it, but I really don't think he did, because this guy was a legend. Actually, they brought him back. He was a leader, but they kind of make him seem like a bumbling idiot. But like I said, he was one of the guys that was testing Apollo 1 when it blew up on the launch pad.
Yeah, they didn't do him too many favors, and they didn't do his wife too many favors as well. She was over there mad at him, like, because she didn't get to meet the president or have her ticker tape parade. And I was kind of like, that's what you're thinking of? Your husband just like went into space, almost risked his life, and you're here thinking about
he almost drowned. Yeah, they tried to save the capsule before they did him.
Right, like her mind was in the wrong place, which I don't know if that's how she was, but yeah, I agree.
But you know, it might have also been stress, because remember how she says one day the Army's going to pay off.
Right.
Because of all the shit we've had to go through for these men. So it's like, also, what's great about the movie is you see like how their personal life, you know, like what their wives went through. And a lot of these guys, they didn't stay married. Like, I mean,
Right.
John Glenn did, but like a lot of them, they were divorced, like probably because of their profession. But here's the scene where he's like telling them he didn't do anything wrong when he comes back after the capsule sank to the bottom of the ocean.
I didn't do anything. I was just lying there. It just blew.
He would have been shaking that bad over it, but anyway, then there's another scene where they find out the Soviets had launched the first man into space. Gagarin.
They've got a man up there. It's Gagarin. We know. Sit down.
I think you're on mute.
And this is where Alan Shepard goes up for the first American.
We're on your way, Jose. Roger. We have liftoff and the clock is operating.
And what you say also for 83, pretty good effects. Like they use like stock footage, but they also, I read that the guy that did this did a lot of miniature work. So like he made these like they were actually launching planes, or like they were firing like aircraft model planes off of crossbows with like 4 cameras set up, which is kind of crazy. They got a little experimental. And so we're about at the end here. I got just a few more clips. This is where, and this is my favorite scene in the movie. It's not even got anything to do with the space program. It's where Chuck Yeager decides he's going to take this plane up and see what it can do. And he walks his buddy and asks him again for some gum.
Hey, Ridley.
Yeah,
You got any beamers?
I might have, Miss Dick.
Well, loan me some, would you? I'll pay you back later.
And then he gets up there and he's stretching it. And he almost, like, I like the guys like, and that they're like, is that Chuck Yeager? I guess he's got clearance, and he just takes off.
Hey, what's that? Anyone got clearance?
What kind of a plane is that?
And you know what's cool? That's a cool looking plane too, ain't it, Fable?
Oh yeah, chromed out. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and here is where he about buys the farm.
Stretch it. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, just a little bit more. 104,000. There you go.
And then also, this is where is this? I think it's about to be part of it. Let's see.
Speed is 17,500 miles per hour.
Where John Glenn's orbiting, but here's where the plane. This really happened to Chuck Yeager though. He lost control of the plane at like I don't know how high he was up. He had to be up 20-some thousand feet.
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah, he's on a flat spin. He's almost to black it out.
Yep.
And he's able to reach finally and punch out. Right. He's like almost below the deck of where you could eject when he gets out of this plane.
I know.
You know, he was burnt really badly. Like the jet fuel got into where his mask broke, and it burnt his neck right here. I think this is true, but like the coolest part though is when the rescue plane, the rescue ambulance is coming with his buddy. He's like, "Sir, over there, is that a man?" He's like, "You damn right it is,
Sir, over there. Is that a man? Yeah, you damn right it is.
Yeah, that was a good line.
And but yeah, I like this movie. I will, like I said, I'm gonna give it 1.5 thumbs because it is a little long. And like you said, maybe it could have been 2 movies. But overall, I do, if you've never seen it, I do suggest watching it. But if you do watch it, I'm just warning you, it is a long movie. You might have to watch it in 2 settings unless you got a lot of time on your hands, which is what I had to do today. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Did you like it overall, or?
Overall, I enjoyed it. It's got some good performances, some great actors in it. I think are interesting. I do think it's a little long. I think that it's trying to stretch itself into too many different areas at times. But overall, it is enjoyable. I don't regret watching it. Your rating is a 2 thumbs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with you. I'll say it's a 1.5 thumbs then. Not the full 2 thumbs up, but I think it's definitely worth the watch. Especially if you're interested in the early NASA space program, aeronautics, things like that. If you know who already Yeager is as a person, and these gentlemen, the Mercury 7 guys, if that's your area of interest, it's a strong recommend.
Yeah. And now it's time to reveal next week's good cinema movie and next week's bad cinema movie. We'll start with the good one since we're on good cinema right now. And I hope maybe you can join if you're not working next week. Maybe you can join for this one because it's going to be a fun one because we're going to be reviewing Pulp Fiction starring John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, and Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, Ving Rhames. I mean, well, the list goes on, right? Christopher Walken's in it, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Eric Stoltz has a great part in it, just a little bit part, but he's in it.
Oh, he's
so
great.
We'll be watching that. It's got the lovely Uma Thurman in it. How can you go wrong with that? And it's directed by one of my favorite directors of all time, Quentin Tarantino. And it's actually sound crazy, but it's actually one of my favorite movies of all time. But
I agree completely, man. It's definitely in a list for sure. Definitely a seminal film that kind of changed the way movies were being done.
Yeah,
for sure.
And on the opposite end of that spectrum, for bad cinema on Monday at 12:30. Well, this is like one of those movies that bad cinema was made for. And of course, I'm talking about Plan 9 from Outer Space, directed by Ed Wood. His movies were so bad that they made a movie about him. When Johnny Depp played him.
I don't know, man. Plan 9 is pretty bad, but I've seen some crap, man.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff.
Might be worse than Plan 9.
I've seen some pretty bad shit over the last 2 months. So trust me.
You ever see Blood-Sucking Freaks? You know what I'm talking about. Oh my
it's got to be better than Sharkula. I watched Sharkula. So, but anyway, everybody, I want to thank everybody for watching. I got to thank my buddy Fable for showing up station. And what do you got coming up, man? Tell us what you got coming up.
Oh, nothing much, man. I'm on hiatus. I'm just hanging around. I'm working really hard, so it's not really much I can do. What I would say is, if you're into horror movies, over on Pop Culture Philosophers, PCP, Rockin' Robbie, he does a thing called Horror Fest that starts this month and runs all the way to the end of October on Halloween Day. I'm going to be involved with that. You know, we review a bunch of horror movies. So my portion of Horror Fest takes place in October. So just, you know, I mean, that's 2 months away still. So, you know, but yeah, if you're into that stuff, you can go over to Pop Culture Philosophers. He's going to do one every Monday starting this month. So, hell yeah.
All right. Well, everybody look for that. And I'll be back tonight with the Comic Lounge. It's just a hangout show. It's a lot of chaos. But it's fun. So that'll be like 7 p.m. Eastern to whenever I feel like quitting. It's just like one of those shows, you know. I got to get my watch hours in somehow, right?
Yeah.
But I got so many shows going on, it's crazy. But everybody
turn on YouTube and Matt's there. That's all you got to know.
And remember this, guys, before we go, life's too short to watch bad movies. All right, hold on. I'm all about left the studio and left you here. Life's too short to watch. Okay, well, you know what I'm saying. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And if you're watching on the replay, please hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, hurry up and subscribe already. I'm 12 away from 500, and I'm tired of looking at this Jenny Frison comic I have that I'm going to give away. So if somebody doesn't get me to 500, I'm just going to sell the damn thing. I'm just all right, guys. We'll see y'all later.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod! Snitchy boochies.